into the swing of the season.
Absolutely. Both the men's and women's teams played big opponents this past weekend. The women were playing Penn State, but we're going to talk about the men's hockey team first, who split the series last weekend with Army, and they traveled across the state lines to play Ohio State in enemy territory, with Luke Lynch being the 12th highest scoring player in hockey in college. So, and with that, the games came to a close. The first game against Ohio State came to a close with the Colonials losing by a score of 5-3. Luke Lynch scored the first goal for the Colonials and got him off to a start. He continued his hot streak, and the Colonials unable to hold off Ohio State in the second and third period to keep the lead. They were up 2-1 at the end of the first. Francis Murat was just not able to keep the pucks out of the back of the net. The Ohio State Buckeyes forced their way into the paint and earned every one of the goals through the second and third period.
The RMU men's hockey team returned to home ice, hoping to avenge their loss to Ohio State in Game 1 in Columbus last night. Standing room only and blinding whiteout, we head to the RMU Island Sports Center for the series finale. So here we're going to jump to the third period. It is 0-0, but this period is going to have quite a bit of scoring, and right there you see Ohio State take the lead 1-0, getting it past our goalie, and that goal was scored by Matt Miller. And right here, you're going to see the Colonials tie things up. Alex Tange on the power play, tying it up with the whiteout here at the Island Sports Center, 1-1, and we're going to head late into the third. Could the Colonials, being back at home, would it be enough to push them over the edge? And here you're going to get to see that goal one more time.
And hopefully we can see Tange kind of step up in the role of scoring a little bit more to help out Lynch. And
in there, though, Greg, we see a second goal, but it's waved off by the refs. The Colonials were going to go up 2-1, but instead the game's going to remain at 1-1. And while the Colonials were looking for that go-ahead goal, it's going to be Ohio State right here who gets the go-ahead goal to go up 2-1. And they're going to end up scoring an empty netter, we're going to see right here. And that goal is going to be scored by Tanner Lazetsky. And it's his second goal in the final 2 minutes, even though the last one was an empty netter.
And the Colonials were unfortunately swept by Ohio State this past weekend after losing at home 3-1 in the matchup. All 4 goals came in the third period, which is an outstanding thing to have 4 goals scored by 2 separate teams in the third period. Andrew Pickle remained perfect through 2, but couldn't keep the pucks out of the back of the net towards the third period, and eventually had to pull in for the 6th attacker for the Colonials to try to get that score even up and go to overtime. But as we see in that last highlight, the Colonials couldn't keep the defense in the offensive zone. And now we get to see what's going on right now with men's hockey. As we can see, the record's 2-5. They have 2.43 goals a game. They allow 3.43 goals a game. And as you can see, they're ranked pretty far down nationally. Their power play is 7 for 46. Definitely something they're going to have to improve on. And their penalty kill is at a 30 out of 36. So the penalty kill is doing decent, but their power play isn't contributing enough where they should be in order for the Colonials to contribute the goals that they need to have. So now I have the amazing chance to stand here with our hockey analyst, Mike Schulden. Mike, thanks for coming on for us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
So I want to start off, like I said, with the whole power play ordeal. The Colonials have gotten a lot of power play opportunities. The penalty kill is doing really great. But as we've seen, the power play isn't contributing. How can they fix that?
Well, from what I've seen, they need to get better at setting up the power play, get more chances that way. They've had problems setting up, getting shots on goal, and really generating a lot of chances. I've seen power plays where they've just gone up and down the ice, they get the puck into the zone, lose possession, and it gets cleared, so they need to get better in that aspect.
Okay, so in that aspect of scoring and helping out Ferguson and Lynch, who should step up into that role if you have a
I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier when we were going over the Ohio State highlights. I think Alex Tange needs to be a little bit better. He has several points this year, but last year he averaged over a point per game, and I think if he can get back to where he was last year, I think this team will be in a lot better shape.
And then on the defensive side of the ice, coming back towards Francis Murat, whoever the goaltender is that night, what can they do to keep the puck out of the paint so Murat and or Pickle can have a better view of the puck in the lanes?
I mean, they really just need to limit turnovers. That's first and foremost. And really just collapse on the net and just, like you said, keep the puck from getting into the paint.
So is there any possible way to translate how the penalty kill is doing over the power play. Like since the penalty kill is doing so well, and the power play isn't doing as well as it needs to be.
I mean, absolutely. You have to ride off that momentum of a big penalty kill in order to really spark your offense. Because sometimes those are big turning points in hockey games where you get a big kill on defense, then you come back down the ice and score.
So with the whole goaltending situation, Murat's been fairly solid throughout the first couple games of the season. Is there anything going wrong that you can see that Murat and or Pickle can fix, or is it just the defense and the offense not contributing?
I talked to Coach Scully after one of the Army games, and I think one of the things that he mentioned was Murat was a little bit sloppy with his puck handling. So I think if he could do that and really, like I said, limit turnovers, I think they'll be better off.
All right, Mike, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for
Hopefully
having me,
Colonials
Greg.
can contribute on what we just talked about. And now we're going to go back over the desk so David can talk a little bit more about a couple more games.
The seniors taking the field this past Sunday against Sacred Heart would be playing at Robert Morris for the final time this season. A win would mean clinching a berth in the NEC tournament after going winless throughout their first 9 games of the season, a feat not seen often in college soccer. Let's head to the North Athletic Conference complex where the Colonials are trying to make a postseason run. So here we're going to get to see the men's soccer team start right off, and early in the game, it's a good save by Sacred Heart, and here you're going to get to see him on a penalty kick, Greg, and it goes wide right, but the save there by Winter Fondy to keep them from getting a corner kick. And this game, Greg, is going to remain scoreless for quite some time, but it's not due to a lack of opportunities. And look at that. You see Zach Sherman right there getting tangled up, maybe a little bit of a flop, but watch him come out on the screen here. Boom! Sherman hits the ground, refs come in.
That was an NBA level flop followed by an NFL level linebacker.
It was, and there's the red card. He'll be out of the game. But maybe that's what the Colonials needed on senior night to get them going, to help them on this postseason run. There's another save by Winter Fondy, and here we go into overtime. On the free kick, it's a goal. That's a wrap. 1-0. Senior's going to be going off in great fashion.
And no better feeling than winning a game in overtime off of a penalty kick, beating the goalie. It's just a great feeling, even better that it was senior night for the Colonials there.
1-0, with the one goal being scored by senior KEANE McIvor. Certainly a great way to end his career at Robert Morris, and an even more impressive way to save the season for the Colonials, who were one of 3 teams to clinch a spot in the postseason on Sunday.
So, David, that's all the time we have for this part of Colonial Sports Center. But when we come back, we have a lot of football to talk about. So, come on back for that.
Want to help in the aftermath of a hurricane? Together, you and I can really help. I am fast and versatile. I can be whatever is needed to help you provide important relief when it's most critical. If you want to lend a hand, I can help you reach out and truly touch lives. Even a small donation can make a big difference.
On November 3rd in Hopwood Auditorium, Robert Morris University, join me, Don Luisi, for Bringing the Blues to RMU. This is a live event featuring Pittsburgh's Queen of the Blues, Jill West, and Blues Attack. Along with a screening of Blues Chronicles from the Burgh, 3 short documentary profiles of Pittsburgh Blues legends Eugene Morgan, Bill Weiner, and Jill West. This tribute to the blues is sponsored by the Blues Society of Western Pennsylvania, the Academic Media Center, and RMU Radio. That's Bringing the Blues to RMU. Friday, November 3rd at 5 p.m., Hopwood Auditorium, Robert Morris University. Admission is free to the public.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome to Colonial Sports Center. We're going to start off this part of Colonial Sports Center by jumping into the football game that happened this past Saturday against St. Francis University. So after a 2-1 start to their season, the Robert Morris Colonials football team has lost 4 straight games, including the 2 big-time conference games, which has left them in a must-win territory for the rest of the season. The Colonials would head to Loretto, PA, in search of finding their answers to their offensive woes. Jimmy Walker and the rest of the Colonial offense would have to figure things out fast. And as we see here, the defense comes up with a big play with Ryan Richards picking off the ball and running back to the 15, eventually being tackled there. But a great look for the RMU defense there to start it off. And now we're going to see Jimmy Walker throw to that post, but actually behind the post was Tim Vecchio for the touchdown, putting the Colonials up 7-3. And now the St. Francis would run the ball to the outside, and we would see the Colonials try to get the offense going here. And he's going to run it to the outside and back into the middle, but he'll eventually be tackled there. And the score sits at 29-7. And now late in the fourth quarter, the Colonials will try to surge back again with a run to the outside, but with no help from the blockers going up to the 30-yard line.
The Colonials once again dropped another conference game. And here you can see that Jimmy Walker was 8 for 14 for 60 yards through the air. He did have a touchdown, but also an interception. Cole Blake, who we had a feature on earlier this season, had 9 attempts for 37 yards. And the sole touchdown was caught by Tim Vecchio. And the Colonials lost 36-7. But now, I'm joined by Logan Carney. Logan, welcome to the set. We had you on last week to discuss football. And it was a disappointing game this past weekend, obviously. And going into the season, you predicted the football team to finish top 3. So either you were wrong or the Colonials have underperformed. What is it?
I'm going to say I was wrong. I'm just going to come out and say straight. The Colonials have definitely underperformed, but they were coming off a 3-win season, so I had a little bit higher expectations than I did. The offense is improved in terms of yardage. I mean, they went up from 150 yards last year per game to 215 yards this year. But yet their scoring has went down to only 9.2 points per game on average, which is the lowest under head coach John Banaszak.
Right, and you talk about John Banaszak, and he's obviously always had a good defense, but offense he's always struggled. This year we thought might be the year whether or not he's going to stay or go. Next year he returns 3 key starters. If his offense doesn't get better, is next year the time to move on from him, or is it possibly this season?
It's possibly this season. I wrote an article that's going to be coming out tomorrow, and it went more in detail. But basically, Coach John Banaszak, if they don't win out, it's tough to see them keep him because he hasn't won over 3 games since he's been at Robert Morris. If they don't win at least 5 this year and win the next 3, then it'll be tough to keep him. But Dreyer will be back, Walker will be back, Robinson will be back. The offensive line will all be back. The offensive line is young, so it's going to be improving. And I think the offense next year, whether with or without Banaszak, will definitely improve.
Right, and so with those last 3 games, just give me one game that Colonial fans should keep their eye on, that they should really tune in for.
Well, Central Connecticut will be the toughest opponent, so I'm not going to say that game. But Wagner and Bryant, those are 2 games that they definitely can win. And I think if you want to be excited for Colonial football next year, watch those games because those are the games that Robert Morris should win.
Okay, well, Logan, thank you for joining us. And check out his article tomorrow on RMU Century Media. Thanks for joining us, Logan.
While their male counterparts faced the Buckeyes, the women's hockey team took on the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Colonials were coming off of a fantastic weekend series against the Brown Bears. And we're hoping to have that translate to State College, where RMU was looking to begin their CHA title defense. And as we see here, a great pass to the top of by the blue line there, and a great goal by Amber Rene to kick off the scoring in this game. And now the Colonials will work down low as Ohio State did against the men's, and this time it will be a goal for the Colonials the first goal was by Cindy Lake Cavalier, and the second goal would be by Amber Rene. And now we're going to see Penn State on the attack here, down low, and a quick little one-touch pass for a goal by Kelsey Crow, putting the game 2-1. And now we'll jump into the third period where things got really interesting, David. This is the period where a lot of things happened. As you can see there, the game went 2-2 as the Colonials couldn't keep that puck out of the back of the net. And Penn State will take the lead here 3-2 with 7:30 left. So it got really interesting really quick. And now the Colonials
are trying to tie it up.
Oh, absolutely. Kirsten Welsh with an amazing way to get through the defense, strong on the puck, and she would eventually score the goal to tie it up at 3. And that would be all that was written for that game. The game took extra time, and even after final overtime, how it sounded, the game remained tied at 3. That would be the final score. Without the help of Kristen Welsh and the Colonials would have lost. Welsh netted the tying goal with 1 minute and 37 seconds left in the third period.
Well, the first game ended in a tie. Luckily, it was a 2-game series. The first contest was nearly as close as they can come in both score and in stats. Let's see if in this rematch, one team could separate itself from the other. So back to Penn State we go. This was a home and home for Penn State. They had both games at home. And right there, you're going to see the Colonials get on the board early. 1-0.
As they did in the last game against Penn State, which is a great look for a team on the road.
They did, and that was Lexi Templeman. And what a goal. I would say it silenced the crowd, but it doesn't look like, they had quite as many fans as we would have show up here at the Island Sports Center. And here, Penn State will tie things up at 1-1, and as the series has been, it's just been a bunch of ties.
It's been a back-and-back series, games and goals and everything else.
And so let's head into this third period and see, whether or not someone can separate themselves here. With Penn State up 2-1, can the Colonials come back and win a game in regulation? Could Penn State? And there's a goal by Robert Morris. That was Christine Welsh. That was the tying goal to knot the game up at 2 apiece. So they've got 12 minutes to go to see if one team can finally win a game.
That's a lot of time in a hockey game. 12 minutes could be 2 or 3 goals for each team.
Absolutely. But as we're going to see, it was a tie. It was a 2-game series and a 2-tie result. The shots on goal in this contest were 26-22, and scoring the goals for the Colonials were Christine Welsh and Lexi Templeton.
The Colonials were doing great with the help of Maria Alfano and freshman Emma Granger. Robert Morris is coming off of a win against St. Francis Brooklyn the weekend before. RMU would be looking for Alfano and Granger to be big contributors again to extend their current win streak to 3 matches. Here we're going to see a great hit, but a block, and they're going to pass, set, and a hit again, but this time it's going to go down for a kill as Taylor Lord gets that point for the Colonials. And that time another kill by Taylor Lord. That's 2 for her. This is honestly, David, this looks like this might be a big match for Taylor Lord and her kills per game.
Could be one of her breakout games of the year.
And there we see a great hit by the Colonials that will be returned by St. Francis, but yet again another kill. That time it would come from freshman Emma Granger. And there we see another kill yet again by guess who? Taylor Lord.
You said it.
You didn't come off fast enough, so I
said
to jump in and say it before you got it. But now we'll see the Colonials kind of fight out of bounds, back inbounds, and it'll go into the net, and Taylor Lord will also get that kill. And here we'll see St. Francis try to rally back, but a great block there by the Colonials, and another hit attempt, but a great block there by the Colonials, and that will result in the end of the game. Or the match, I should say. So, it took all 5 sets to decide a match winner, but the Colonials defeated Sacred Heart University. Maria Alfano took command for the match for the Colonials with 18 kills and 7 blocks, while Emma Granger had her back with 13 kills and 2 aces. The Robert Morris Colonials were able to extend their win streak to 3 games, which leaves them at 6-4 in the conference play, with 5 games left in the regular season.
And one of those 5 games left was against Fairleigh Dickinson University just this past weekend. And in this contest, the Colonials ended up sweeping the Knights, and earlier this year they played the Knights and they also won that one. But here you're going to get to see great performances out of Taylor Lord, who you talked about earlier in the show, Greg, and Emma Granger also. She's led the team in kills this year. She had 11 more, 4 digs, and 13 points. And Brianna Frakes, who has had an enormous amount of assists this season, has another 36 in this matchup, as the Colonials are able to beat Fairleigh Dickinson.
And that's an amazing thing to see, be able to see the Colonials thriving with Taylor Lord and Emma Granger and Brianna Frakes to kind of propel themselves forward. So now we're going to jump into the standings for the NEC for volleyball. As we see here, Robert Morris is sitting in 4th place behind Central Connecticut, Bryant, and LIU.
Right, and you see LIU up at the top, and they certainly look like the team to beat this year. But Robert Morris is a young team, and so whether or not they get it done this year, I think we can certainly look for them going forward to be that LIU Brooklyn next year and be atop the conference.
Absolutely, especially with the likes of Emma Granger on the team. She's young, she's fresh. They also have a couple other great players that are freshmen this year. So Now, we're going to send a break real quick, but when we come back, we're going to have Morgan Torcha sit down with Maddie McConnell.
You aren't going to want to miss that with the Robert Morris basketball season right around the corner.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you! She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze. Help up the hand! Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Zane!
Tonight, along the Texas Gulf Coast, utter devastation. Harvey barreled ashore overnight, packing 130-mile-an-hour winds, blinding sheets of rain, and the treacherous storm surge.
Harvey can't mess with Texas. So donate now to help make Texas whole again.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. I'm Morgan Torcha, and with me today is a member of the RMU men's basketball team. Maddie McConnell is going into his third season. So Maddie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you who don't know, just a quick fun fact, Maddie is also a member of my 2015 Chartiers Valley graduating class, so I guess it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Things have clearly been going well for you. So I kind of want you to take me back to freshman year. You've been playing for your dad since you were a little kid, all the way through high school. You won him a WPIAL championship. Sure, that had to be awesome sharing that experience with him. But coming here, you had to go into playing for Coach Toole, who's clearly very different than your dad. So can you tell me a little bit about that transition?
The transition was a little tough, but playing for my dad was probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. But it kind of made it easier transitioning because I feel like they're the same type of coach on the court. They're always high energy and yelling at everybody. So when I got yelled at by my dad, it was kind of easy for me to transition playing for Coach Toole and kind of having the same thing here at Robert Morris.
Is your dad still a huge supporter of you, even though you obviously don't play for him anymore?
Yeah, I mean, he comes to every home game and tries to come to some of the away games, but all the home games he's here sitting in the stands watching me play.
That's awesome. So speaking of your freshman year, you kind of had a small setback with a shoulder injury. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, I heard it. I tore my labrum against Cincinnati, and then didn't know what was going to happen from there. And then the trainer said that I had the choice of either getting surgery right then and there or playing the rest of the season. So I said I kind of didn't want to miss my whole freshman year, so I kind of played with a torn labrum my whole freshman year, and then got surgery right after. So kind of just had to finish it out my freshman year and then just get that surgery after and do the rehab and get back on the court.
That definitely had to be rough, but you've clearly been able to improve. You scored 27 points against Niagara and 24 against St. Vincent so far. What have you been doing to improve your shot this season?
I think I've just been taking more of game-like shots. I'm working with all the coaches, and they're just trying to get me in like game-like reps and just trying to simulate what the game's going to be like when we're out there on the court.
Okay, so, and then speaking of the season as well, there's a whole new crop of freshmen coming in. So what's it kind of been like working with them and trying to get them adjusted?
It's been fun, but it's been hard because we're always trying to learn new things because we have a whole crop of freshmen. But it's been fun because it's all new stuff to them, and they're kind of high energy, and the practices are high energy as well. So it's kind of fun having them run around and learn new things, and them looking up to me to do the right things.
Yeah, if they're looking up to you clearly as a junior, you have to be a role model for the younger guys. So what do you kind of try to do to fit that role?
I always try to do the right things, and if they have like a question to me, I try to always explain to them in as much detail as possible and just tell them to do the right things. And I mean, just go out there and play your game. Just don't let anyone or anything that dictate what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's definitely some good advice, and I know you spoke to a Colonial Sports Center's own Dylan Poe about a freshman year particularly close with John Williams. What's kind of the relationship like that?
He kind of came in and just caught my eye. He came in and just worked, probably one of the hardest workers on the team, and he just brings energy and enthusiasm to the team, and he's kind of like the clown in the locker room. He always has those side comments that makes everyone laugh. So I think he's just like the team clown in the locker room, I would say.
So, being a role model, I'm sure a lot of people don't know, you actually have a younger sister, Megan, who still plays for Chartiers Valley. She's on the women's team, and your older brother, TJ, who plays for the NBA. So how are you guys kind of role models to her still being in high school?
On the court, it's just if she ever needs anything, like basketball-wise, we're always there. We're one phone call away to talk about it if she needs anything. And then just off the court, we're kind of just leading her down the right path to be as successful as she can. So I think it's just she has two great people to look up to, and it's really easy for her for the role model on and off the court.
So one last question before we wrap. You guys have been projected to place 7th this season. What are you guys going to do to pretty much rise above that?
I think we just have to play our own game and not listen to what people say about us. I mean, we're really young, and I knew that going into we were going to get picked low in the standing. So I just kept telling the guys that don't worry about that, and our time will come, and we'll show those people who ranked us 7th that we're not one of the worst teams in the conference.
All right, well, Maddie, thank you so much for coming in. It was good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
And
Thank you.
coming up next on Colonial Sports Center, David and Greg are going to have some upcoming games, so stay tuned.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, that can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you. She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze. Help up the hand. Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Zane!
Tonight, along the Texas Gulf Coast, utter devastation. Harvey barreled ashore overnight, packing 130-mile-an-hour winds, blinding sheets of rain, and the treacherous storm surge.
Harvey can't mess with Texas. So donate now to help make Texas whole again.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center, and last week was certainly an exciting week of games, but this upcoming week is going to be the same.
Absolutely, especially with the men's and women's hockey teams both playing very, very big opponents.
And we got the rest of the games up there as well. And you know, the one game that jumps out at me is football. They're going to travel to Wagner, a game that they should win on Saturday, and that's going to be a noon kickoff.
Absolutely, and with how they're going so far in the season with their NAC standings and everything, this, like we said earlier, is a must-win situation for the Colonials. They should win against Wagner. They should have won a lot of games so far this season, but this isn't a should win anymore. This is a must-win. It's a whole different scenario. And now another game that I would like to talk about, David, personally, is that men's soccer game against St. Francis at 1 p.m.
That's going to be a big-time game. You know, they've got conference implications, going to the playoffs, on the line, seeding at stake, and that's going to be a big-time game. You saw last game get a little chippy there, out towards the sidelines with Zach Sherman.
And I'm always a big guy about momentum, so if they can carry a couple wins into the postseason, it's going to be a big way for them to be able to translate regular season wins to postseason wins. So I'm excited to see how Bailey Winkle and the rest of the team can kind of carry everything in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the men's soccer team can go forward and head into playoffs.
Absolutely. And it was another fun show here tonight with Maddie McConnell in studio and a couple of analysts So that's all from us here tonight, and we would just like to say have a good night and see you guys next week.